talking about the types of variables. When we said there is like around five types or six types of variables. The first, like the main variables we have is the dependent variable and the independent variable. And we said that, like, you see this angle when you put this like, you see the direction, the independent, that means, like, you see the arrow, that means the independent variable affects the dependent variable, okay, or cause the dependent variable value to either increase or decrease, okay. So this is like the main two variables we are studying, the independent variable and the dependent variable, okay. When we said, like, the moderating variable here, you see here, moderating variable, the arrow ends here, uh, in this ends in the arrow between independent and dependent. That means it affects the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable, either by making the independent variable is the relationship between them stronger or weaker, or it also controls the direction of the relationship. Like, when we talk about the direction of the relationship, as we said before, we have that if the independent variable increase, will the dependent variable decrease or increase? If like both of the dependent and dependent variables, they increase together and decrease together, this is a positive relationship, okay, positive direction. And when we say, like, when the independent variable increase, the dependent variable decrease, this is a positive negative relationship, okay. So the moderating variable either enhance the relationship or reduce it. The mediating variable, as you see, it helps, like, understand why or how the independent variable affects the dependent variable. It's like in the middle, it mediates between them and helps them come together. That means, like, if you don't use the mediating variable here, we cannot understand why the independent variable affects the dependent variable. And here the control variable, it affects either here the dependent variable here, it can affect the direct, like, affects the dependent variable, or make the dependent variable value different. If we take like an example here where we have the independent variable is about trauma exposure, and we want to understand the relationship between trauma exposure and academic resilience, okay. So here we find that the mediating variable between the two that help you understand the relationship between the two is the coping strategies. Coping strategies, that mean, like, okay, like, if you have like high trauma exposure, okay, that's mean, like, the coping strategies that you are using is going to be low, okay, and then this will affect your academic resilience because you cannot cope with like the education you are studying, you cannot cope with the lessons. So that's mean, like, the academic resilience is going to be low, okay. And here you have the moderating variable is saying the gender or access to counseling, okay. If you have if you have trauma, okay, and at the same time you have access to counseling, that's mean, like you can reduce the effect of trauma on your academic resilience, yeah, okay. It can affect the relationship between the two because, like, and also with gender, if you have a male, okay, he's going to respond to the academic resilience differently, okay. And if you have female, it's going to respond to the, like, academic resilience also differently. So it can affect the relationship between the two, whether you have a male or female or you have access to counseling. Another important, like, when you talk about control variables, age, the trauma exposure, like, differs with regard to age and educational level. Like, if you are a child, maybe your trauma exposure is going to be high. If you are like an adult, it will be a bit low. If you are an old person, the trauma exposure also might be high, okay. And here's extraneous variables like the home environment and financial situation. This can also intervene and also, like, affect here, like, the dependent variable and also we can have other that affects the independent variable. So this is